What would you do if you had the superpower of invisibility? The first thing this boy does is take revenge on the kids who bullied him. Then he sneaks into the locker room to watch the girls change clothes.
Hey folks, Maya here. Heads up, there are spoilers ahead, so grab your snacks and let's dive into today's story.
There's a skinny, sick man in a locked room trying to draw something on the wall with a chisel under the supervision of a doctor and a commander. When the older man finishes the painting, he passes out from exhaustion. An infant's sock falls off his left hand. The commander immediately calls someone to inform them about the painting on the wall. It's a coastal city. Michele Silenzi rushes to a costume shop in that city, insisting on getting a Spider-Man outfit. However, the shop owner refuses to open the door since it's not yet time. In class, the teacher takes his phone away. At the same time, the principal and the police inspector enter and say that Martino has been missing for 2 days. That inspector is Michele's single mom, Giovanna. When the two leave, all of a sudden, Michelle's nose starts bleeding. He then goes to the restroom to wash it as the school bell rings. 2 bully boys break the door, rob him of a 50-pound note, and use a gun to shoot at Michele. The poor boy is chased and humiliated while his peers can't stop laughing at him. After getting home, Michele sees his cousin in a bee costume. He turns on his laptop, visits Stella's Facebook page, and decides to join the Halloween party at her house. Michele opens an old box and takes out a smaller costume. Then he goes to a shop full of creepy costumes and masks. Michele is offered a Chinese superhero costume known for its mysterious superpowers. At the party, Michele doesn't seem to fit in with the crowd, which is full of outstanding costumes. He meets Stella, who is dressed as Marie Antoinette. He is then mocked for his silly outfit by the bullies, Brando and Schalke. Suddenly, a video of Michele secretly stalking Stella is shown to everyone on the screen by the bullies. Feeling angry, Stella asks Michele if it's true. He runs away and locks himself in the bathroom. He looks in the mirror and angrily asks the costume to make him invisible. When the light goes out, Michele jumps out of the window and runs back home. The following day, after getting up, Michelle's dog, Mario, keeps barking at him while he's brushing his teeth. Michele is shocked because he can't see himself in the mirror. He takes off his shower jacket, being naked in his room, but his mom can't see him. He has become invisible as he wished the night before. Giovanna thinks he's hiding under the bed, but it's Mario. Michele leaves his mom a note saying he has to go to school early. Michele dresses up like a ninja, covers his whole body, and rides to school. After seeing Ivan, Michele takes off his clothes and goes to the classroom next. Michele uses Ivan's paint gun to shoot the teacher, making her angry at Ivan. He sneaks into the teacher's room and fixes his exam with the correct answers. Next, he goes to the tennis court where Brando is practicing and destroys his match. In the changing room, tennis balls move by themselves, which astonishes Brando. He follows a ball to the restroom and suddenly hears a voice from nobody. He runs away in panic. Michele then goes back to school. He goes to the girls' changing room and watches the girls in their underwear walking around him. All of a sudden, a girl throws a towel at him. At that moment, he becomes visible again, which makes the girl scream. Facing his mom's queries about the trouble, Michele doesn't share his secret. His nose bleeds again. A moment later, Giovanna receives a call and says that Brando has also gone missing. In Dr. Vasili's psychology class, Michele's hand becomes invisible, so he has to cover it under his jacket sleeve. As the school bell rings, Michele rushes home. Arriving at his room, he asks Candela to move outside, but he doesn't know that she's still inside, watching him take off his scarf and become invisible. Michele has to cover her mouth to stop her from screaming and explains the costume to her. Candela considers it magic and thinks that he can help other people with his superpower. At the police station, Dr. Vasily tells the police that the 2 missing students are possibly volunteering and staying calm is necessary at this moment. At home, when his mom calls him, Michele pretends that he's not home. His mom worries about him so much that she starts smoking again after 12 years. She accidentally reveals that Michele is not her real son while talking on the phone with her mom. Hearing all of her words, Michele runs out of the house in sadness. The next day, while sitting alone on a swing and still invisible, Stella approaches Michele without being scared of the moving swing. Stella talks to Michele and even gives him candy. He draws a face on his hand, and Stella adds a smile to it. After seeing the smiley icon on her window at night, Stella lets him in and hides him from her mother to feel his presence. Stella comes closer to him, and they accidentally kiss. Realizing that he's becoming invisible again, Michele jumps out of the window and goes home. At the mini stadium, Stella is practicing gymnastics. Michele walks his dog there to tell her the truth and apologize to her. However, a man in black shoots her with a dart gun, making her unconscious. Witnessing this, Michele sees the men kidnap Stella. Michele and his dog try to rescue her, but they can't. Right after that, the police arrive, including Giovanna. She praises him for doing a good job. After being taken away, Stella wakes up too. Doctors are doing some tests on her. Then one man claims that she's not the one they're looking for. Worried about Stella, Michele decides to rescue his crush by himself. He goes home to look for the costume. Unfortunately, it shrinks due to washing. Michele asks his cousin to put it on. However, it doesn't work. He blames his mom for destroying it, denies being her son, and runs away. Meanwhile, Stella reunites with the missing boys, Martino and Brando, at the port. Michele meets the mysterious man he saw looking at him last night. He tells Michele that he's Andre. He's dead. Andre reveals everything about their past. Due to a radioactive disaster, many people died and got sick. Only some of the remaining people had their DNA changed, which turned them into superhumans. All superhumans were locked somewhere in Siberia, tested, and used for evil purposes by the company. Andre can read people's thoughts. One day, his real love came. They had the same fear and fell in love with each other. And Michele was their first son. Worried about their son's safety, they brought him away. Unfortunately, they dropped the baby's sock, which the company's military dog got. His mom gave him to his dad and fought against the military. She became invisible and attacked the enemies. Sadly, they defeated her in the end, but she had already passed her superpower to her son. Michele, being scared for his son's safety, Andre had no choice but to leave him in front of Giovanna's house, whom he knew to be a good policewoman. He believed she could protect Michele. Meanwhile, Giovanna is worried about Michele because he hasn't been home yet. She then tells Dr. Vasily that Michele is not her real son. At the port, Andre tells Michele that the fisherman nearby will call the police because he thinks Andre may be a kidnapper. Therefore, Andre erases his memory. Then he gives Michele a suit which can make him invisible without taking off his clothes. As soon as he arrives home, Michele runs to his room to change into the new costume. When Dr. Vasily gives him the cookies, Michele sees a wound covered with a cloth bandage, knowing he belongs to the company. Michele tries to escape but fails because all of the doors are locked. Putting on this suit, Michele becomes invisible. Michele attacks Vasily with a knife, but he can't hurt him. Vasily uses powder to identify Michele's position. He also persuades Michele that with his support, Michele can maximize his superpower. However, Michele kicks him in the leg and escapes. Michele then gets on Ivan's motorbike and tells him to drive away quickly. Michele shows himself to Ivan and tries to explain everything to him. When Giovanna comes home, her house is a mess. She sees Andre appear at the door in the cell. The two kids make a human ladder to help Stella get out of there to avoid being discovered. She walks on the wall over the guards' heads and runs upstairs. She finds a big light on the top of the building and draws a smiley on it before lighting it up to the sky. Realizing the signal from Stella, Ivan and Michele hurry to get there. After Ivan shoots the controlling system on the gate, Michele goes inside the base and finds Vasily there. The guard catches Stella on the rooftop and retrieves her back to the cell. Witnessing that, Michele hits him with a fire extinguisher, takes his gun, and forces the guards to get into the cell, letting the two missing boys out. However, Stella tells Michele that there is also an older man being trapped in the ship. As they get closer, Stella suddenly changes her face and points the gun at Michele. It turns out to be a trap, and Stella is controlled by that old guy who is confirmed to belong to the company. He also admits to manipulating Vasily. Michele can do nothing but surrender. At the base, Ivan meets Giovanna and Andre knows Michele is not inside the ground but in the ship, which is about to explode. They rescue the two boys and go to the bottom, discovering Dr. Vasily in a room. Giovanna wants to kill him, but Andre stops her because he knows that Michele is not lying. As soon as all of them run out of the base, it explodes. Giovanna is still looking for her son, Michele, and the girl in the ship. Michele has no choice but to use his superpower, killing all the guards. He and Stella get into the control room. They control the system and succeed in floating up to the water's surface. After that, Andre decides to delete the people's memories related to this event because he's afraid that Michele will be in trouble again. Back at school, everything returns to its normal state. Ivan and Brando bully Michele again. Stella still keeps her distance from Michele. However, they meet up outside and go home together. So that's it. If you enjoyed this movie, share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to check out the recommended movie on your screen right now. Watch it and join Mahi's Movie Recaps.